What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. And also welcome to the first silly season update of the 2025 to 2026 NASCAR silly season. Today, I'm going to recap all the big storylines that are going into the 2025 to 2026 NASCAR silly season, and also some of the other tidbits as well that do go along with this silly season. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Let's begin by talking about Kyle Busch. Going into this silly season, Kyle Busch is the number one free agent that is not currently signed for the 2026 season. He is currently in a contract year with Richard Childress Racing, and there's been a lot of talk and speculation over the course of the last couple months that Kyle Busch can make a decision one way or the other. Some theorize that Kyle Busch is going to stay with Richard Childress Racing in the 2026 season. Others theorize that he is going to leave the team and go to greener pastures and go to a new organization for the upcoming season. Now, I do think that Kyle Busch wants it to work over at Richard Childress Racing. He has spoke about it publicly on his podcast he did with the Happy Harvard podcast, that of course he did with Kevin Harvick not too long ago. He stated that he wants to work out over at Richard Childress Racing. And I do think RCR has shown a little bit more speed in 2025 compared to 2024. Now, if Kyle Busch is to leave Richard Childress Racing at the end of this year, I look at a team like Spire Motorsports as a potential landing spot. Now, all three drivers in the team, Justin Haley, Michael McDowell, and Carson Osbar, are all under multi-year contracts with the organization at this time. But Justin Haley look as that driver that might end up leaving, even though Hendrick is very high on Justin Haley currently at the moment. So I think the big question is going to be, will Kyle Busch stay at RCR going into next year? I'm leaning toward he'll likely stay. I don't think there's a lot of really good options out there. I think JJR would be an interesting one, but I think Denny Hamlin more than likely is going to stay with the team next year. You've got 20-11, but all three drivers under contract currently at the moment, plus they have the reserve driver in Cory Coryheim at this time. So I think that's going to be the big question. But right now, Kyle Busch is in a contract year with RCR, and his future is a little bit uncertain. Let's move on to another driver's in a contract year, and that is Daniel Suarez. Now, Daniel Suarez signed a one-year extension with Trackhouse Racing going into 2025, and there's a lot of talk and speculation currently at the moment that Daniel Suarez more than likely is going to leave Trackhouse Racing at the end of this year or lose a seat at the team. And before the season began during Daytona 500 week, it was confirmed that Pitbull would no longer be the owner of the organization of Trackhouse Racing. I've heard a theory that maybe there were some disagreements around the contract for Daniel Suarez, but we're not entirely sure at this moment. But Daniel Suarez, I do think there's a very likely possibility that he's going to be out of Trackhouse Racing at the end of this year and going to another team. My theory is that he is going to end up over at Kaulig Racing because Ty Norris works over at Kaulig Racing currently at the moment. But I think Suarez is one to watch out for. The performance has been a little iffy this year. I think he's had decent speed at times, but I also think the Trackhouse Racing organization as well just doesn't have it currently at the moment, which could lead to Suarez leaving the team. The driver who will likely replace him in 2025 or 26 is Connor Zilich. There's a lot of talk that Connor Zilich could be in the NASCAR Cup Series as early as the 2026 season. He's currently driving for Junior Motorsports full-time in Feny. He did unfortunately recently get injured, but he's expected back for the Coco 600. He's going to make his Oval Cup debut with the Red Bull sponsorship in the number 87 machine. Connor Zilich is very highly touted as one of the best prospects out there. I think there might be some association with Junior Motorsports on that front, but I think Connor Zilich will be one to watch out for throughout the silly season because I think there's a very good possibility because he's been doing really good. He's been contending for wins a lot this year. I think there's a good chance he could be a Cup Series driver in 2026. Before the season began, it was announced that Corey Day had signed a development contract with Hendrick Motorsports. He's making a lot of starts in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in the number 17 machine. He's driven for Spire Motorsports in both ARCA and the Truck Series as well. And also, of course, has been making some select starts in the Trans Am Series as well. Now, Corey Day, I think, is talented, but he has struggled so far in the few races that he's ran. He'll be looking to get better, though, as the season progresses and goes on, as he looks to get better and looks to run a lot better with the Hendrick Motorsports team going forward. During the Daytona 500 week, Tricon Garage has said that they could be open to maybe making some more Cup Series starts in 2025 and could be open to making starts in 2026 as well. They, of course, ran the Daytona 500 with Martin Truex Jr., and we know that Tricon is very, very much trying to become a big team in the motorsports world. So I think Tricon Garage could very likely have a Cup Series team full-time in the next couple of years. Seems like there's some interest about that happening in the not-so-distant future. Before the NXT season began, Hailie Degan was interviewed by Jenna Fryer, and Hailie Degan was asked questions about her potential return to NASCAR down the road. She is not planning to return to the NASCAR Xfinity Series currently at this particular moment, unless a big sponsor can come through. As much as Hailie Degan does have a lot of popularity in the sport, she just doesn't have a lot of funding with her. That's why she's over in the NXT. I think her time in NASCAR was definitely a little better than it was in the NXT right now, but it sounds like right now she is not looking to come back at this moment, at least for 2025. During Daytona 500 week, Scott Dixon expressed interest in running the Daytona 500 in 2026. It would most likely be with Legacy Motor Club. Scott Dixon, of course, does have some racing experience, I believe, in the IROC series many years ago, but I don't think Scott Dixon has a lot of stock car experience, so I think it'd certainly be interesting if Scott Dixon wanted to come over. I think he could be one to watch out for to potentially run the Daytona 500 in the not-so-distant future. Let's move on and talk about manufacturers, and let's talk about Dodge. There has been a lot of talk and speculation throughout this year that Dodge is likely going to be returning to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in 2026. And there's a lot of talk they could have a Cup Series program as early as 2027 or 2028. Now, realistically, a lot of people like myself think it's more than likely going to be 2028, then it's going to be 2027, so they can build a little more time up in the Craftsman Truck Series. But they're also likely going to have an Xfinity Series team down the road. Now, many people, quoting Jordan Bianchi, have stated publicly that Trackhouse Racing could be a potential landing team for there. You look at their struggles with Chevrolet right now, not being a top Chevrolet team. I think Trackhouse Racing could be one to watch out for to go over to Dodge if they do come into the sport again. And it sounds like it's very likely going to happen. Dodge, we have heard reports, we've heard rumblings. I think Dodge will very likely have a Cup Series program down the road as well. But as of right now at the moment, it sounds like they're just going to be having a Truck Series program for 2026 with the bodies expected to be approved in the not-so-distant future. But we're going to have a new manufacturer in the sport more than likely, and we might know one of the teams who we'll talk about here very, very shortly. During the Daytona 500, Eli Cash and Evans said that he'd be hoping to run some more NASCAR races in the future. Now, he said he most likely will not run any more oval races down the road, and will be focused on road courses. It would most likely be the Project 91 car. I think Eli would definitely fit a lot more to run the Project 91 car at the road courses compared to running the ovals. He struggled during Daytona 500 week, but I think Eli Cash and Evans running an event like the race at Chicago would be pretty cool. We'll have to see if that happens down the road with the 87 car Connor Zilich is running at this particular moment. Another driver that's interested in running the Daytona 500 once again is Martin Truex Jr. After Martin Truex Jr. unfortunately crashed out and had oil issues during the Daytona 500, he's hoping to run another Daytona 500 down the road. Martin Truex Jr. I think wants to win the Daytona 500. We know he wasn't the best super speedway racer, at least on the Cup Series side, I should say. But Martin Truex Jr. running another Daytona 500 would absolutely be really, really awesome. And I hope he does down the road get the chance and opportunity to do it, because in my opinion, I think Martin Truex Jr. is a very good driver and is one of the best NASCAR drivers of all time. We'll see if he gets that chance and opportunity in the future. One team there's been a lot of talks around started during Daytona 500 week once again, but Junior Motorsports is looking to potentially join the Cup Series in 2026 in some way, shape, or form. And Dale Jr. said that for the first time in a long time, they're very open to doing it. Now, they could down the road make some more Cup Series starts in 2025. Travers Whiskey is open to do some more partnerships with Junior Motorsports down the road. I have a little bit of a theory around the Junior Motorsports program if they decide to go Cup Series racing. My theory is that they partner up with Trackhouse Racing and have the 99 car that Daniel Suarez drives, that being the ride for Connor Zilich. I think they're also going to run a part-time entry in the Cup Series, but I think they may have a position with Trackhouse, considering that both Shane Van Gisbergen and Ross Chastain have both been driving the number 9 machine this year for Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series. And I think with that partnership and all that stuff, I think that's a big way that Junior Motorsports will find their way in the Cup Series. It's not so much having their own charter, but partnering up with Trackhouse Racing for the 2026 year. Another manufacturer that is rumored to be joining the NASCAR Cup Series in NASCAR is Honda. Honda, over the course of the last couple of years, there was a lot of speculation, even going back to last year. And because IndyCar is in their final, next year will be the last year for Honda being with IndyCar's contract, many think by 2027, the Honda is going to jump ship and come over to NASCAR. They have all the cars that are required to run in all 3 series, so I think there's a very good possibility and chance that Honda might find their way into NASCAR. And for the first time ever, they've been talking about it. It sounds like there's a good chance of it happening. During Atlanta week, Coryheim signed a development contract with 2311 Racing. He is going to run some select Cup Series races, including this weekend at Kansas Speedway, and is also going to run the Chicago Street Course as well. Now, Coryheim is also running a lot of Xfinity Series races this year, and of course running full-time for the Truck Series Championship. It sounds like he will be at least part-time next year in 26, with some rumors around Legacy Motor Club looking to get a charter for next year. I think Coryheim could find a way into the Cup Series in the not-so-distant future. A couple weeks ago, it was announced that Carl Edwards would be joining Amazon Prime as doing the pre-race show and the post-race show in the studio. He had been asked about potentially driving number 5 car during All-Star race practice and qualifying, with Larson being at the Indy 500, which this could be the last year Larson runs the Indy 500, but Carl Edwards says he is not going to drive the number 5 car more than likely, and Justin Allgaier is likely going to drive that car. It'd be cool to see Carl Edwards back in the sport, but as of right now, he is not planning to drive the number 5 car currently at the moment, but glad to see him back in the sport. Another driver we talk about a lot on this channel is Kurt Busch, and during the offseason, he was cleared to return to racing in NASCAR. Now, Kurt Busch has been doing some stuff, basically running the Race of Champions out in Miami, I'm pretty sure, and he's been doing some other racing stuff. And it'd be awesome to see Kurt Busch come back to the sport. He is cleared to make a comeback. The doctors have medically cleared him. I know it's been a long time since he's been in, since 2022, but I think it'd be cool to see Kurt Busch come back and do a one-off start in the sport, but he is cleared to return to racing. One driver that we do expect to be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing next year is Denny Hamlin. Now, Denny Hamlin is not in a contract year with the program, but there's a lot of uncertainty around the sponsorship. But because of Progressive coming on to sponsor Denny Hamlin for a majority of races now already sponsored at this point, Denny Hamlin's probably not going anywhere for the 2026 year. So I think Hamlin isn't going anywhere. He's good on sponsorship, at least through this year. I know Progressive only signed a one-year deal, but I think especially with Hamlin's competitiveness currently at the moment, Denny Hamlin's probably not going anywhere. He'll probably be staying with Joe Gibbs Racing for the foreseeable future. Another driver is in a contract year is William Byron. William Byron is in a contract year with Hendrick Motorsports currently at this moment. I do think Byron is going to sign a multi-year extension with the team. He's been really good over there, Hendrick. He's leading the regular season standings. I don't know why it's taken so long for them to get the deal done at this moment, but I don't expect anything to change for next season. I think William Byron will be good to go for the long term, probably sign a contract for the rest of this decade and probably in the early 2030s as well. One driver who we could see in the NASCAR Cup Series next year is Jesse Love. There is a lot of talk, especially making some Cup Series starts currently at the moment, RCR and Byron Motorsports. I think he could be in the Cup Series. He's one of the top prospects currently at the moment. He's a really good talent. He's already won a couple Xfinity races, albeit on super speedways, but he's been very, very good this year on those types of tracks. I don't see Jesse Love going anywhere. I think he's going to be with the RCR for the long-term time, but I think there's a very good chance possibly that Jesse Love could have an opportunity to be in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2026. His RCR teammate, Austin Hill, is also a driver to watch for in this silly season as well as a potential candidate to go Cup Series racing next year. He is making some Cup Series starts this year in the number 33 machine, and he's in a contract year in his Xfinity Series deal with RCR. He's very closely tied to RCR, though, at the moment, so I think if he does go Cup Series racing, it probably will happen. I think there's a good chance of it happening next year with Austin Hill moving up. I think he's going to be one to watch out for. Austin Hill's a pretty talented driver, especially at super speedways. I think you might be seeing him in the Xfinity Cup Series potentially in 2026. Let's talk about Legacy Motor Club. In the last couple weeks, there's been a lot of talk about Legacy because they're currently suing Rickware Racing because they were supposed to get a third charter for the 2026 season. Rickware said that they were supposed to only send it out for 2027, but Legacy said, no, we're wanting to do it for 2026. Legacy wants to be a 3-car team next year. My theory is it comes down between Casgrall and Coryheim for that seat if they do become a 3-car team. But the fact that they are talking about this tells me it's very likely at this moment. If they do become a 3-car team with Legacy Motor Club, I think Coryheim will end up being the driver and he'll get loaned from 2311 Racing over there. Speaking of 2311 Racing, there's a lot of uncertainty around the charters with 2311 Racing and Front Row as they got a preliminary injunction at the end of last year in December to have 3-car teams for the 2025 season. But a lot of these drivers do have contracts in their clauses where they basically say that they have to have a charter in those contract clauses. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Noah Gragson, Todd Gillen, I believe Coryheim also have contract clauses that state they need a charter for the season. And with it uncertain with the preliminary injunction stuff going on right now, it's unknown if that is going to be set for next year. But I think it's a big story to watch out for in the silly season with 2311 Front Row in regards to the lawsuit. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was reported that Brock Feny was working on a multi-race deal with Kaulig Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Brock Feny, of course, driving full-time in the Supercar Series. He's competing for the championship right now, and he's very, very talented. And I think he'd do a really good job. He's kind of like the new Shane Van Gisbergen at this point. Very talented race car driver. He'll be one to watch out for. He's got the Red Bull connection as well. He'll be one to watch out for if he does get the opportunity to race for Kaulig Racing. Speaking of Kaulig, Will Brown. It sounds like Will Brown is heavily rumored to be running the Chicago Street Course with Kaulig Racing and a third Kaulig Racing machine. Originally, Will Brown was supposed to make a couple starts with Rich Schultz Racing, but one of those starts got picked up by Austin Hill for the year, and Kaulig is the next best choice. Their program has been solid this year, and I think Will Brown will be a major threat and contender. He was really fast at Sonoma before electrical issues came out with RCR. I think he'll be one to watch out for if he does make the race there. Over the last couple weeks, there's been a lot of talk and speculation that GMS Racing could be returning to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in 2026. Spencer Gallagher said today that that rumor is not really true at all, but I do think there's a lot of truth in it. He was smirking according to what Caleb Vessel reported earlier today. So I think GMS back in the Truck Series is a big deal. GMS Racing is heavily coming back with the Dodge rumors, or one of the teams that might be going over to Dodge. They had a lot of success in the Craftsman Truck Series not too long ago, and I think it's very likely that you're going to see GMS Racing back in trucks. They were gone for a couple of years, for about a year or two, I should say, but they will likely be back in the trucks with the Dodge programs in 2026. After Kasey Kahne made his NASCAR Xfinity Series return, he's been open to making some more starts in NASCAR in 2025, but also in 2026. Kasey said it's unknown if he'll be here for 2025, but I think 2026 is very likely. RCR will have that third car once again. We've heard Kyle Busch might make some starts in that car as well this year in the Xfinity Series, but I do think that Kasey Kahne coming back in running more races, be very competitive at Rockingham. I think there's a really good chance we might see Kasey Kahne make some more starts in Xfinity this year with the Richard Childress Racing brand, and also in 2026 as well. After Cletus McFarland made his ARCA return and drove the number 30 car for Rhett Jones Racing, he stated that he'd be planning to return at Talladega Superspeedway. I think Cletus McFarland is open to running the Daytona 500. He said he was interested in running the Daytona 500 2027, but I think he's planning to maybe say we'll take a little more development time, but I think he will make his NASCAR debut at some point in 2025, probably at Talladega for a team like Rhett Jones Racing, or probably run the Truck Series race at a team like Raymond perhaps. But I think Cletus McFarland, especially how much NASCAR really likes him, you look at the ratings for some of their stuff, I think there's a very good chance he will make his NASCAR debut at some point very, very soon. And finally, let's talk about Rodney Chillers. Rodney Chillers, of course, left Fire Motorsports very, very recently, and it's unknown at this time what Rodney Chillers is going to be doing for 2025 and also 2026. I think he'll get picked up by a team. Some are suggesting him replacing Chase Elliott to be replacing Alan Gustafson as a crew chief for Chase Elliott. I think Alan Gustafson is still a good crew chief, but I mean, there's a lot of good drivers out there that would probably take Rodney Chillers at this point. So I think that's going to be a big question. What happens to Rodney? We'll be keeping an eye on that story with Rodney's future being a little bit uncertain as a crew chief. So that is going to be it for the NASCAR Silly Season update. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go to more of that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What thoughts about the Silly Season update? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And what do you expect for some of the drivers like Kyle Busch and also 2011 Front Row Side and Junior Motorsports as well in Dodge? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We will be having more videos dropping today on the channel. We're going to have reactions to Cup Series qualifying. We are also going to have reactions to the Truck Series race as well. Then tomorrow we're going to have the starting lineup for the Advent Health 400. And we're also, of course, going to have the race review for the Advent Health 400. And we might do a Shane Van Gisbergen video as well. On the Monday, we're going to have a NASCAR news video. We got some stuff on GMS Racing. We've got updates on the 2011 Front Row lawsuit with Michael Jordan being involved in that as well. We've got other updates like Pietro Fittipaldi interested in maybe running for Trackhouse Racing at Mexico. We've got content coming on people like Haley Degan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Conor Zosh, Junior Motorsports, Eric Almirola, Chandler Smith, Shaw, the Creed, Sam Mayer, Carson Quaffle, many other people in the industry like a Frankie Muniz and Matt DiBenedetto as well. We've got a lot of great content dropping really soon that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.